It's like almost everything you think could happen to a child has happened in one of these settings somewhere at one time or another.
I certainly didn't expect my son to come home from boarding school with teeth knocked out, with back injury, and with burns on an arm. If parents put their children in a room like that in isolation, it would be criminal. They would be arrested.
Provo Canyon School needs to be shut down. After years of harming children, multiple lawsuits, bankruptcy, and survivors speaking out, this school is still operating where they are using government money to literally harm children. These places and other facilities like this need to be shut down. So get ready to pay close attention, grab a snack, and wash it down with some hot tea. So obviously this is not hot tea at all. If anything, this T stands for trauma. Paris Hilton recently released her documentary, This is Paris, where she talked about her experience going to the school, and it's honestly so terrible and heartbreaking. She has reoccurring nightmares, PTSD, and so many other children are still going through the same thing at this school and other schools like this. The TTI industry is huge, and they are profiting off of harming children. They're also using government grants to fund what they're doing, and it's honestly terrible. If you guys don't know what TTI is, it is the troubled teen industry, and there are so many survivors who are speaking out. And today I'm going to go through some of those stories and speak about those experiences. I've done my own research on the school, and I agree with Paris, it should be shut down. If you guys aren't familiar with the school, it is located in Utah, and I mean, it looks like a basic, it almost looks like a church to me. Like, it doesn't really look like a school, but it is a getaway for troubled teens to go to become better people. And a lot of the times they leave with child PTSD. So obviously it's not doing its job. And here is a little map of where the school is located. You can see there's a whole area in town, Provo, and it's right by Utah Lake. It seems like it would be a great location, but it really isn't a great school at all. It's a terrible facility that hosts adults and, pays employees to harm children. Like, these employees actually enjoy doing this, which is the creepiest part, because they want to fondle these children. They want to inject them with multiple drugs. They want to do these things to them, refer to them as numbers, because they feel some type of internalized issues, like hatred towards children or something, because I can't imagine any sane person working here with the stories that I've heard. More and more survivors are speaking out, and this is actually one of Paris's friends who has spoken out, and she talks about her childhood PTSD, trust issues, abandonment issues, shame, and so much more. So many of these children go here, they're referred to as a number, and they are put in isolation for so long. They're put in isolation for so long that they can't go to the bathroom, they can't do normal human things, they soil themselves, and guess what? This school is the type of place that if you pee yourself by accident, you have to wear those same clothes for the next 3 days as punishment. This place is so beyond anything that I've ever seen before. I can't imagine after this documentary and everything else that they could stay open. This school does have consequences for its actions. There have been multiple lawsuits, and one, for example, was in the 80s, back when it was an all-boys school, and they had to go to court for it, and the judge literally told the school that they can no longer open the mail of the boys, use polygraph testing on them, isolate them for any reason other than them being violent, because a lot of the times this school is just isolating them for no reason, and they still continue to do this. They obviously did not follow the court orders. It would be a different thing if the school actually got better and started fixing some things, but over time they only got worse and worse, and some more people have come out sharing their experiences of what has happened to them, and it's honestly really hard to hear and to talk about, because some of these girls have gone through such terrible things that I cannot imagine this happening to anyone. Like being injected with drugs that you don't know what they are, and they make you really tired and you feel dizzy for multiple days. Listen to this one survivor speak about her experience at the school, and you can see that she talks about being injected with something called booty juice, which is a drug I guess they would inject children with to put them to sleep. It's honestly so insane that they can just feed so much drugs to these children and prescriptions and do whatever they want with them, but obviously the school needs to go away.
There's a observation room, which is pretty much cement bricks, all white cement bricks, and it's very cold in there. It has a draft, and a skylight is your only light in it. Very, very, very cold. We're not allowed to step out of line, anything like that. You're not allowed to call home at all because of the persuasion that you might persuade your parents to take you home. They'll usually tackle you to the ground, restrain you. I've seen people get bit. I've seen people like get broken legs and stuff from this. It's a very, very violent thing. Too out of control, you get a shot of booty juice. We actually never knew exactly what was in the booty juice. We were never told. All we know is usually that they just stick you with a shot and you're out.
Some serious antipsychotic that knocks you out.
Yeah, it makes you really dizzy for the next couple days too.
Everything that survivor said is very scary and traumatic to think about. That these girls are just like being injected with something and then going to sleep and feeling dizzy for multiple days. Like, who is allowing this to happen? One experience that was shared was from an 8-year-old girl who went to the school, and she recalled being strip searched, then touched by staff. She was really foggy in the head because she was medicated before she came. She felt super homesick that first night, so to comfort her, the staff took her into an isolated room and locked her inside, which is literally against the regulations in Utah. So obviously the school thinks they're above the law and the rules, and they're going to continue doing whatever they want to do until they are permanently shut down. We need to shut down this school. One survivor said, quote, "The thing that still haunts me is the amount of time in isolation." She said, being left in that room for so long, watching other girls restrained and then shot up with Hadal, it's something that I don't know how to reconcile with the rest of my life. These people going through these experiences, these 8-year-old girls, these 15-year-old girls, are literally going to be scarred for the rest of their lives, and people don't understand how intense this is. This doesn't just go away, and these survivors are going to continue speaking up until the school is closed down. Like that survivor said, she would see girls restrained and then shot up with Hadal. If you guys don't know what Hadal is, and honestly I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but it is an injection that is used for long-term treatment of mental and mood disorders like schizophrenia. It can be used for people who have issues remembering things, like taking medication every other day. Helps you think more clearly, and it lasts for up to 4 weeks. And I just have to say, I hope whoever was injected with this medication was actually schizophrenic or actually had these problems, because I can't imagine a facility just feeding this to people who don't actually have those problems. And I have a good feeling that maybe that's what has gone down. And not only were they treated just terribly, they were put in gross sweatpants that they did not enjoy being in, but they also were fed really gross food. One person went on Dr. Phil and was actually sent to this school, and then later spoke out against Dr. Phil, pretty much blaming him for everything she went through. And in this article, I found a little bit about the food. And she said the food was so unhealthy that it wasn't fit to feed an animal. Sometimes the milk they served us was so old it had turned sour and lumpy, which is really gross. I lost close to 30 pounds by the time I was discharged. I knew one girl who had her nose broken after a staff smashed her face into a wall for not obeying an order. I have been out of Provo for 2 years and I'm still haunted by the flashbacks. I think Dr. Bill should be investigated for malpractice for recommending Provo Canyon School to parents on his show. And maybe he should be, because honestly, that is it's clearly not a great facility, and with years and years of baggage, I don't know why Dr. Phil, someone on a school, would send children to such a terrible place. Now for the rest of the video, I want to share some experiences from survivors who have told their story, and honestly they are survivors, to make it through this school and to stand up for these future children and these other kids who are being harmed at the moment is so powerful, and I'm so happy these people are speaking out. But again, it is really sad. So here's actually a little timeline of just people who have spoken out, and I'm just going to read some of them to you guys. I basically said goodbye, and I was thrown into a room and strip searched. It was a nightmare. What did I just walk into? Did I just walk into prison? Said Jeremy. Another man named Aaron, who's a survivor, said, I'm 41 years old and I still have nightmares of being in that place till this day. That's really scary. Elizabeth says, you get so used to being hurt and the control that you can't differentiate between being loved and being hurt. That is so creepy and scary. This is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Like that one guy said, like Aaron said, he's 41 and he still has nightmares about this place. Sarah said, we have a lot of untrained, unseasoned counselors. BYU students who were seriously no more than a few years our senior. So why are they hiring unexperienced staff? And also, why would new college graduates like go to the school and then harm children? Like, are they being forced to do so? Are these people who work here terrible people? Is it like starting from the top? I just don't really get how this type of treatment goes down. Jen said, the things that still haunt me is the amount of time in isolation. That is just really freaky for me to think about too, to be locked in for so long. Kyra Lewis, another survivor, said, we have to find a way to change how we do mental health. Teenagers should not be drugged and ignored. Period. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Kayla said, on being restrained at 8 years old, it's very traumatizing. It's very scary. Mostly, it just scares you more. Kaylee said, until I turned 18, I was terrified I would get sent back for some reason. I always had a fear I would end up back there. So obviously it's really, really scary and like life-changing for these people. And like when I was reading through and watching some of these interviews, I was just thinking to myself, I don't think I would have been able to survive it. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to like just keep going, being in isolation and being talked to like this and being treated like that. It's honestly so terrible and frightening. And I can't believe that it's ever been a thing. Here is a review that I found online where someone shared about their nightmares. 17 years later, I am still having nightmares about this place. I'm now medicated due to stress and anxiety. The positive review left must be fake because no one that's ever been there would say such nice things. If you are considering sending your child here, please hear my warning. Do not send your child to Provo Canyon School. Warn your family and your friends against it. This place should not exist. And that's coming from a survivor who went there. Another review. If I could give it a negative amount of stars, I would. She was there when she was 15 and she still has nightmares. I was drugged to the point of not being able to open my eyes. Now that's really freaky. I got in trouble for that too. Oh, wow. I sat in an empty cell for hours and had to sleep on a little mat, worse than jail. When you first get there, you get into a unit that trains you to do as they say or you will be retrained. You aren't allowed much contact with your family. The first 2 weeks, no calls, and then after that, you can call only once a week. And it is controlled and monitored because if you say anything bad about the program, they will end the phone call. Please do not put your children here. Obviously, this place is not great for children. I think that at this point in the video, we have proven that. This survivor shared, to put it plainly, this place should not be in business. My time working here was temporary. Oh, so she was a staff. But while working there, I saw illegal ratios of staff. Staff leaving their cottages with just one person to take care of 16 girls, poor diet, the girls were fed high sugar and overly processed meals, girls who often had 16 different prescriptions a day, which is really insane. They would interact with each other and give girls more problems than they were already dealing with. There were staff members who would bully the girls without receiving any repercussions because of, well, the lack of staff. They are understaffed, and the staff they do have are underpaid, underqualified, and over-demanded of. As such, their desperation and greed negatively affects those they hire who are actually willing to try to make a difference, and more so the girls. So from a former staff, obviously you guys can see that she saw it was problematic and she left right away. So maybe that makes sense. Like, people who are normal and sane go here and they're like, hold up, like, I gotta get out of here. This is not okay. Finally, another survivor shared their story. This was actually their friend sharing it for them because the survivor didn't want to write this, but they talked about how this person who they're referring to as Miss Z was enrolled in this facility over a decade ago by parents who thought this was a perfect solution for her. Initially, staff members were welcoming with open arms, and it seemed as if this was a perfect home away from home. However, on one October evening, her experience quickly took a turn for the worse when her legs were fondled by a staff while she was asleep. Ms. Z was allowed one phone call where she took this opportunity to tell her parents what happened. Her mother immediately phoned the Canyon School and was told that this was a common practice. She told that a night count was done on occasion to ensure all students were present and that Ms. Z had exaggerated what she experienced. After this complaint, Ms. Z was put into solitary for no reason. Well, I know the reason because she called and told, and her phone privileges were immediately suspended. I also spoke to one of her friends who was also a student at this time. She confirmed that Ms. Z had done nothing to deserve this response by staff members. Well, she called her parents, so I understand, like, obviously that's not the right way, but she called her parents. Other students also experienced this during so-called night count. It seems several staff members use this as an opportunity to do more than simply ensure the presence of students. Many students were fondled with while asleep at this residential facility, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. please do not send your children here. Every single person, they don't say, don't send your children here. They say, please don't send your children here, because they know how traumatic this experience is and they don't want other people to go through it. I'm literally getting goosebumps as I read these just because it is so intense and so weird. And you guys know I am always fighting for children and trying to protect children, and to think that this type of things are happening in the United States and that they're allowed and that our government is sending money to them to support this type of practice is just insane to me. And I will continue to use my platform to try to bring awareness to this. And I am so thankful that Paris Hilton is using her platform as a major celebrity, not only to just like share her story, but to continue to fight for other survivors and to try to close this school. It wasn't like she made a documentary and was like, oh, like, here's my story, like, I was really hurt, and then end of story. She is continuing to fight against the school, and she is going to close them. So I want to make a quick little video about this school and share what I know about it, and maybe convince you guys to also understand why it's important that the school is closed. I know a lot of people didn't watch the documentary just because it's Paris Hilton, and that's whatever, but I don't want you guys to completely write off this whole movement because of Paris Hilton, because there is a true problem here and children really do need your help. If you guys want to support my channel, I have a PayPal listed in the description below. You can subscribe to this channel, my other channel, and follow me on Instagram at SL04N. I will continue to fight and save our children because they deserve better than what they are getting today. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.